Greetings and salutations. Time now for another session of story time with Fizz. Welcome to the Yizbert game stream. I'm happy to be here. It's a Monday. My day job work week is over. My weekend starts tomorrow. And here we are on a glorious day. We get to end Pyre, which we kind of did last time. We ended it, but not quite, because there was a lot to read. And I didn't want to do that last time, because I was going to be streaming for a billion gazillion hours. So, rather than do that, we're just starting off the stream today with the tail end of Pyre. Now, see, I decided to close out while it was on the epilogue. I don't know if that means I have to replay the last match or anything like that, or redo any of the gameplay. So we'll see. I might have to actually play a video game a little bit, and then we'll get our epilogue. But then after that, it's Tunic, which I've been wanting to dive in full force for quite some time now. And so I'm happy that I finally get to do so. Anyway, my name is Fizz. Kellen, Fizz Stevens, as it were. Music's gonna cut out for just a minute while I typey. It's me. You can find me over at Twitter at FizzTheHuman, and on my website at findfizz.biz. It's 2 Z's for Fizz, but 1 Z for biz. And of course, if you found your way here, you know all about Yizbert Games. But if you're over on the YouTube channel, or if this is your first time hanging out with us, I have posted some links in chat. First and foremost is the Yizbert website, yizbert.net. That's where you can go to find all the information on the games that Yizbert as a publisher publishes, and other various links, such as to merch, which I will also post a merch link to. That said, as far as the social media goes, you can find Yizbert at Twitter and Facebook. At both of them are going to be at Yizbert Games. Twitter.com/Yizbert Games. Facebook.com/Yizbert Games. You can also find their YouTube at YouTube.com/Yizbert Games. Consistent branding. Merch.yizbert.net is going to be the link to the merch side of things, in case you want to get various objects pertaining to the games that Yizbert publishes, a few of which are the Cyberpunk Bartender Action series of games Valhalla and Nirvana. Nirvana is currently wishlistable on Steam. Masquerada of Songs and Shadows, She Remembered Caterpillars, Y2K, a postmodern RPG, No Place for Bravery, which is currently wishlistable on Steam, and World of Horror, which is currently in early access on Steam. I'll go ahead and toss the link to the Yizbert store over on Steam as well there, where you can wishlist those games and get them yourself. Dr. Fox says I should say something in chat so it's not wall-to-wall Fizz. I appreciate that. Now it's and you know what? I'm just going to type bread, and there, now we have made a proper sandwich. But hey, I appreciate that, and hope you're having a swell day. I think that's about all it takes for the intro. I apologize if my phone rings and I have to take a call quickly. I'm waiting on a phone call potentially today, because they're going to be installing a fan in my bathroom at some point. And I don't know when that is, but hopefully very soon, because I'd like to shower in my shower rather than the guest shower, but that's neither here nor there. You didn't come here to hear about that story. You came here to hear about what happened to all our lovely friends in Pyre. So, I guess let's get right to it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I forgot, but I think I covered all the links. I introduced myself. I guess I didn't quite mention exactly what Yizbert does, but they publish games. Those games I listed earlier. But they what was it? Someone once said, I don't remember if it was someone that once said or if it was Brian himself, founder of Yizbrid, that coined the term, Annapurna's weeb cousin. I crack up every time he says it, but I like it. I think he should trademark it. Anyway, let's get into Pyre and hope that he didn't dislike that I said that. Should be fine. It's fine. It's fine. If it's not, I'll blame the can of Monster that is flowing through my veins. Sugar free. So let's discover together as we get started here how much of this game I actually need to continue to play before we get to the story. Drum roll. Oh, we still have to do the final bit over again. Okay. Well, so maybe this first hour is going to be a full hour. I thought, you know, I'll probably knock out like some of the dialogue and it won't be the first full hour of the game will be Pyre, but apparently it will be. So let's go back into let's practice for a minute. I would like to do that. Something I would like to bring up, last time we let what's his name? Starts with an O. Oralek. There we go. Oralek. We let Oralek be the one to go back to the downside. I mean, excuse me, go back to the Commonwealth. Now, I didn't quite get to read exactly what happened in the epilogue, but I did notice something in that final screen with all the characters listed. One of the characters was Sandra, who we were talking about, where, oh, we can't practice. I cannot actually practice for this. This is going to be interesting. Okay. We may do some resetting. We'll see how it goes. Because I would like to... because I saw Sandra there, I realized we have Sandra's orb on our person. If we ascend, perhaps she comes with us. And perhaps she is freed. So I'm going to make that choice this time rather than let Oralek make his choice. Since that had I known that, I would have picked that. But we'll go with that this time around. Assuming I can kick his butt after not playing for a week. For all you Elden Ring players out there, I've been hearing the lovely phrase, "I am Millennia, Blade of Mikola," over and over again for the last little while. So it's a nice change of pace to play a different game. I'm gonna see if there's anything that I can buy just to like guarantee this win. Oh, hey guys. This, it's a little awkward here, I guess, because, I said goodbye and stuff to you already, so, just maybe have a look around or something. Oh, Falcon Ron. Yeah. Oh, I see we're walking in the same direction. Oops. I have $65 dues. Pardon me. Do I have any, talismans to boost? I don't. So I can sell these back. You know, I think we'll be fine. Oh wait, there was one. Was it this one? No, it wasn't that one. It It's this one that I wanted to make sure that we use. I'd like to have it on somebody with more glory, but I need those other ones on there. And we're going to take the same team of 3. So, you know, but what we can do, sell these back. We can get all these. Oh, wait. We don't need those. We need these. Let's get a presence. Let's get some hope. All right. Thanks for stopping by, guys. All right. How do I go to the inventory? There we go. Let's give Bertrude a little bit more hope. Use that. And let's give some more presents to... who do we want more presents for? Do we want to just, like, bring... Let's bring Volfred's presents just way up. Let's just make him a god. Let's try it. Send it. You have gained the summit of Mount Elodiel for the 8th time? Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final liberation rite. The lone minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far. Do we want to... We did this last time. I'm just gonna skip this, if that's fine, even though it is very hopeful. Everyone gives us their, like, final... We can do it! Yeah! 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 We have to keep going until we are free. Time to turn all of these on. If I suck at this, you know why. We'll just restart it. Maybe. Or, well, we can see how it goes with a bad end, too. Who knows? Maybe Oralek will let us go. Never know.
Look, for one last time, upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me, for one
We're still gonna pick,
For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away.
Pamitha.
Stranded there for your remaining days.
Because that guarantees
in that forsaken land where you deserve to be.
that things happen the way that they did before.
The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated, all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves.
Also, Monster came out with a peach version of their sugar-free ones.
It is a shame that one of you shall soon be free.
It's really good.
For you deserve each other.
All right. Sorry to take the epicness out of this final thing, but
One final opportunity for salvation.
maybe I just want to get back to Tunic. Okay. Then we'll do Volfred And did we take Tizo last time? We did. We did take Tizo last time. I'm gonna take Bertrude this time. Because Bertrude can get some blasting done. And we don't need to see Oralek's kindness. See, now we're playing where Oralek doesn't have to show me his best side, so I don't have to care so hard that he's not going back. I don't remember if this is the same. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me. But you who would relinquish your own liberty for sake of them. Strange. It is fitting, then, that I should have to face one such as you. Then Oralek stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies to do the same. I didn't drink enough of this water to use it as an echo chamber thing.
By light of dawn, the cycle of the rites shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time.
That one just sounded like Sasuke if he'd been smoking for a while. The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Sing until your lungs give out. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna be bad. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Oof. Okay. Haha. Come on. Ah, okay. Shoot. Double shoot. Okay. Come on. Yeah, there we go. You wear the raiments once again. I could not simply stand by and do nothing, Oralek.
Yet that is what you did. When last we stood together on this blasted mountain, I fell. You simply stood. Oralek, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal?
Oralek seems to consider the question, but only for a moment.
Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail, here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan with a capital P? To bring about a better Commonwealth? No, I make no promises. I owe you nothing. Then I am sorry, Oralek. My love of country comes before all else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake. Your love be damned, Volfrid. Let us stand as adversaries then.
You shall not pass. You shall pass. Nope. I'll take that. What? What happened? What actually happened there?
The orb. Her wings have served her
I don't actually know what interaction there happened. The sky rains ash. Soon shall your pyre's own mingle with them. Just then the skies above begin to rain down fire, the final throes of the cycle of rites and the ending of the age. This is the ending of the age of Aquarius.
Panther banished.
Oh, right. They just get to do that. I'll take that. Oh. Oh. Hooey! Get busted. Get busted. Ooh. I got busted. I'll take that. Oof. How do I shield with him? I don't remember. Can I just... I'll take that, please. Oof. Okay. Nope. No. False. Oh. True. In it goes. Ooh, look at that.
I wonder, shall the Nightwings press their luck?
Oh, okay. No, I didn't catch that. Okay. I'll take that. Flappy, flappy. In it goes. Yeah, Zoni, so I am starting a new game. I finished Pyre, but then there were epilogues to do. I wanted to get through all the epilogues, and I didn't have the time to do it last time. However, what I didn't count on was having to redo the final battle before I could get back to those epilogues, so we're just redoing the final battle. So the false Nightwings bear their fangs at last, but that cannot be your finest effort. You think you deserve your freedom more than I? Then fight for it, damn you! Oh. I'll take that. Did I get that in? No! No! Curses. I'll take that. I'll take that. Please. Let me teleport. Okay. Oh no. Okay, did I buy enough time? I did. No, what? How do you get the door? But you didn't even see that. Blasphemy. Okay. How? Okay. What? Jerks. Get sizzled. Get sizzled, bro. Get sizzled. I'll take this. No! I'll take that. Please? Yeah! Alright. Whew! Can I just get you sizzled, please? Yeah! There it is. No! Me sizzled. I'll take that. In? No. Out. Okay. Come on. Ah, lame. Okay. That's right. If it falls after you, yeah. Shoot. Give me back my... Oh, I don't have Bird Lady. Curses! Ah! Got it in. Ah. I'm sitting at a nice score, however. Get sizzled. In. In! There we go. One more. One more is all I need. Cool. Orlex stands, breathing heavily. He looks back on the thin lick of flame that is his smoldering pyre before turning his attention back to your triumvirate. In? Yeah, there it is. Sweet. Alright.
Nightwings proved their worth.
Now we can go into the epilogue.
As for their adversaries, they did not. Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Not bad there, reader darling. Just another night in the downside, no. You look upon Pamitha for what you expect shall be the last time you see each other. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf her. Any moment now, she shall return to glory and join with Volfred's agents in the Commonwealth to help achieve the plan with a capital P. Any moment now, the cycle of the rites shall end, until at least the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen.
What I learned in boating school is... What I learned in boating school is...
No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
Damn. Did we already miss our chance? Each prior time upon the fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened following the liberation rite, and taken in whichever exile prevailed. But now all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlek approaches, his head bowed. The 8 scribes saved their greatest treachery for last. Then something else catches his notice. Wait. One sec. Did I miss this call? Text. Oh. One moment. I'm getting a new bathroom fan at 8 in the morning on Thursday. Yes. Alrighty. Wait. A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again. Different somehow, but open. Pamitha looks upon it, but it does not engulf her, or at least, not yet. It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes. This is not their greatest treachery. It is their greatest jest. The Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. It seems that all are worthy now of freedom. Orlek strides toward the Shimmer Pool, but... Halt, Orlek. Orlek glances over at the lone minstrel, almost in surprise. The shimmer pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and you shall surely drown. Of that I can assure you. He laughs to himself at this. Then, we have all been cheated. No, the shimmer pool is revealed, and one of you may still return, as planned. But, as for who returns, someone shall have to choose. Ere the last light of the stars is extinguished, and the rites cease to be. This is the final trial of the scribes. The final trial of the scribes. Then, our confrontation, the liberation rite, it all was meaningless. No. The victor of the confrontation is to be the one to make the choice among those closest to the scribes. Either the anointed, or he who anointed them. Then it's sounding rather like I can get out of here. Though, maybe you can, reader darling. Aye, it shall be either you, the reader, or... It shall be either, or... Pamatha, please make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. Quite the dilemma. But I think I know which way I'm leaning here. Reader darling, do me a favor now and go. Get out of there, before I go start having second thoughts. Pamatha wishes to give up her freedom so that you may regain yours. Very well. Reader, sir, the choice which Pamatha made, or rather, the choice which she gave, it is now yours to make instead. This choice, it may keep bouncing back and forth like this? Absurd. It may until such time as one of you is willing to accept the burden and the outcome of the choice. That is the trial, and I fear that there is little time remaining now. Reader, if you and your companion are too cordial with each other to accept that freedom, either one of you, then I shall gladly take it. Freedom ought to be more than some flirtatious trifle to exchange. Reader, what is your will? Nah, I'm a go this time. This is my chance, and Pamatha wished that I should take it. I'm the one who wants to go. Except I better be able to take the crystal ball. Because I want to get out of here with Sandra. Unless it's like I'm ascending and the orb flies up and like leaves with... Yeah. Did I mention that this is like Final Fantasy? Well, I just shouldn't mention spoilers for a very good story beat, especially when I know that there are people who I want to play FF14 in the chat. Haven't played it yet. I see you, the Blitch Witch. Calling you out. No, your mind is made up. You have chosen to be free, yourself. I see and understand. Then it is done. Pamatha looks to you this one last time, her heart filled with unspoken understanding. You turn then to the lone minstrel for an instant, but another instant later. He is gone, he and everyone. All you feel is the coldness of the rush of water coursing all around you. Pamatha gave her freedom so that you may yet have yours. May you return in glory. You are set to return to the Commonwealth and leave the downside. Forever!
Godspeed, reader. By the scribes. No stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
I don't believe that was any different than the last time. Ooh, I think now I get to see the the Commonwealth, though, yeah? Oh, maybe not. That night, an exiled reader returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded and the cycle of the rites had run its course. He found the Commonwealth in a state of unrest. Spurred by the efforts of 5 liberated exiles, Volfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan with a capital P had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky portended the return of the scribes. The rulers of the Commonwealth pushed back. Fighting broke out in the streets, in spite of Sandalwood's intentions. It was then that the winged high-wing remnants chose to strike. So this is the same as it happened last time. Allegations that the high-wing remnants were in league with Sandalwood were never proven. However, there was no denying the result of the two-pronged attack. After enduring for almost a millennium, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Saurian Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast their people into exile. And they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today, we still remember all of this. And we remember the exiles of the downside, whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Interesting. She doesn't show up as having been liberated. Yet it still shows that she can. Choose someone to learn what became of them since last you met. Well, we'll start with her then. Because I'd like to know, I thought I could take her with me. So there must be like a good end that like, maybe we pass it back and forth and it stays open and everybody leaves? Is she like secret unlockable stuff? This might be stuff I have to do on my own time. But let's start with her. Let's see what happened. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exiles of the Nightwings, who remained in the downside, continued to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Beyonder Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that, when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Beyonder Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal ever existed, or rather, that the visions that it granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the southern bogs offer still another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant that they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remain unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwings who claimed to have seen this apparition all spoke of her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. Can you believe... I can't speak. Can you believe this, reader? Honestly. Sandra has appeared before you, as well you can see. They are so far from the mark with all this nonsense, I want to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughs. She is referring to the account of her. You sense she does not care for it. Well, let them gossip all they like. I merely wish that they would mention you at least in passing, when next they are at it. Though they shall never know even the half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the incomplete account of what happened to her. Reassure her the account was relatively flattering despite a lack of detail. Could have been worse. Humor her, perhaps making some light of the situation will make Sandra feel better. Or remain silent. Sometimes Sandra just needs a little time to vent. She values that you listen. I'll humor her. You indicate to Sandra that the real truth of what happened between you would perhaps make too lascivious a tale to be told in such a format. Oh! She makes a bemused sound at this. Perhaps that story ought to get out then. To think that they would go to all the trouble to make literacy accepted once again, only to print such drivel. Anyway, let us keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it. That is what matters. She fades into the Beyonder crystal for now, and you tuck it away safe. Let's see. Where do we start? Start anywhere. Let's see, let's go with, do we have an order we want to do? Guess I can just go top left to bottom right. And then end with these two. We can start at the bottom and work our way to the top. I like that idea. Start with... Do we want to do the bad guys first? No, let's do Tizo. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. We'll go bottom up. Once the rites had ended, the imp Tizo had a job to do, quite unlike most exiles trapped forever in the downside. The lone minstrel asked that he watch over the black wagon, which the Nightwings had used extensively for travel and for shelter all throughout their quest. Tizo obliged, for he knew that wagon, as well as its drive imp inhabitants, perhaps better than anyone. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified as evidence of Tizo's thorough work. After that, he liked to while away his days with any of his friends, or else with fellow imps. Sandalwood sometimes called for his assistance, and Tizo was always happy to oblige. The two would often reminisce about their times with the lone minstrel. Tizo often missed his interactions with the reader, who is now free. I am free. Once merely a status of a deviant, yet now a revered title in the Saurian Union. They had quickly built quite a rapport back in the downside. Indeed, Tizo would often express wistful gratitude for all his time with the Nightwings, and their many adventures throughout the land that was always his home. Excuse me. Other than that, Tizo would sometimes help interpret for messenger imps relaying news to and from the Saurian Union. Our nation formed in 839 AS after the fall of the Commonwealth. One day, we all may stand shoulder to shoulder with a common cause. Fulford Sandalwood. Despite having gained significant celebrity abroad, he never let it go to his head. And he would go fishing in the Sea of Solace at every single chance he got. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance at freedom from the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Almer Oldheart's grasp. Thus they and the exiles of the Fate returned to Jomura Valley. There they struggled to get by as exiles of the downside tend to do. Sometime after the rites had ended, the Oldhearts at last heard the news that the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that cast him down along with his son. Dalbert Oldheart passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. Oh. Rest in peace, Dalbert. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Almer never shared his father's view of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes, and so after a period of mourning, Almer began a new journey. Not a day went by that Almer Oldheart did not think about his father and give thanks to him, and speak to him at morning and at night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert's would be there among them, smiling down at his son, and watching over him and his kin. After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign ever came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. But Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted, rather forcefully, that any evening now, the stars would shine for him again, and mark the way toward his inevitable freedom. He was, of course, mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lendl the Liar was never seen again. However, there have since been sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's cruel countenance, suggesting he yet lives. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital to the outcome of the plan with a capital P. He was the one who led the raid on the stronghold where Archjustice Androboles IX was holed up when the fighting grew fierce. With him then and thereafter was one of the winged harps of the Highwing remnants, later identified as Fikani Shang. Hey! He got his girl back! A harp for whom Hedwyn cared deeply. They were separated when Hedwyn was exiled. Pardon me? Their bond was vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as a leader in the Saurian Union, Hedwyn oft confided in his friend Jodariel. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when her circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friendships he made, he had pledged to Jodariel, Rookie Greentail, and the Reader of the Nightwings that they might all be free again together. His promise had come to pass, though he always knew that this was not his own doing. He was always deeply grateful to the other three, his closest friends. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not all able to remain in contact thus, Hedwyn thought of each of them often, and so, in turn, did they oft think of him.
When the worm Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom: his honor. Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as captain on the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him to once again make use of his military training. He fought that night of the Scribe's return. Inspired by the liberated exiles, the people of the Commonwealth demanded new leadership. Cast yourselves down, chant from the Scribe's return. He fought with all his might. He faced other worm knights. He cared only for the cause. When the matter was at last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstance, again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend, Rookie Greentail. He was always grateful for the counsel of the Reader, and would regale him over and over about the time they squashed the spawn of unfathomed Plurnus. By that point, he had long forgotten about his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of his abusive leadership was his first step toward gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Pardon me. Other than that, an intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day. Good on ya, Gilman, good on ya. All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth, and now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient test were crestfallen, as their last chances to return to their homes vanished along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for this outcome meant that, at last, there was no burden of responsibility weighing down on him. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre Hearts yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. You know, good for him. Good for him. After the cycle of the rites had ceased, Witch Udmilda returned to the Flagging Hands region, where she sealed herself within the Pit of Millith. There, even her fellow exiles of the Withdrawn allegedly grew unnerved after a time, and left her to her vile work. Sometime later, the Pit of Millith erupted into flame. So intense was the conflagration that it could be seen all the way from Jomura Valley. Arson was suspected, though the cause was never verified, and many bog dwellers in the region were forced to flee.
A tempest blowing from the north finally quenched the flames. When at last the ashes settled and the grounds had cooled, the site of the fire was scarred beyond recognition. No trace of Witch Udmilda could be found. As for the contents of the Pit of Millith, which notably included a profane object thought to be the remains of Islak, all of it was gone as well. Back in the Saurian Union, Udmilda's repeated threats of the return of Islak were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. The Commonwealth had never provided a sense of home for the one they had called Lay the Lonely, which I wonder if she has a... I'm going to have to look up on, like, the wiki and see all the titles that they give her and things like that. Anything that changes with the first letter. Like if it's, you know, Faye the Forlorn, if you, named her that, or something like that. Tay the Tarnished! So she was surprised on her return that she was so well treated. She felt uneasy about it, and besides, she knew that she would do her best to fulfill the pledge that she had made to her friends. Even she could not have expected the impact she would have on the events that followed, which gave rise to our Saurian Union. Lay stood with the others on the night of the scribe's return. She did not take up arms, but spoke of the scribes with conviction and sincerity. Others were so caught off guard that it helped quell the danger of the situation. After the fall of the Commonwealth, there was a renewed interest in the legend of the 8 scribes, and many new interpretations of their histories and teachings. Lay found herself at the center of all this. Her way of speaking continued to compel a growing audience. She swayed many people from their astralist beliefs. What was astralism again? Theocratic sect, believing divine authority rests with the stars. They alone dictate the future. I see, we all return as stars, so much the brighter should we live with glory. Soon the 8th word, a theocratic sect believing that the 8 scribes were more than mortal and their words divine. Surely the book created by the scribes was more than a fable, but a genuine artifact, though perhaps lost to time. Excuse me. Which had lost favor with the people during the reign of the Commonwealth, sought her out and asked her formally to join. And she did, right away. Through it all, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. While they were divided now by a great distance, he always remained in her heart. She cited her relationship with Jodariel as the single most important in her life. Jodariel would always provide for her a circumspect perspective and the wisdom of experience. Whenever she felt genuine doubt, which was not very often, she sought out the reader of the Nightwings. If there was anyone whom she trusted as much as the scribes, it was him. Lay always was devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Many people in the Saurian Union cited that her gentle manner and unwavering conviction helped them brave the changing times with courage and with grace. Good old Rookie Greentail! After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury, and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given in to his better judgment, as he did end up siding with Wolfred Sandalwood's revolutionary forces, as he promised. On the night of Scribe's return, Greentail kept busy barking "Ha!" orders to Wolfred's agents as the situation grew tenser. He took rather well to leadership. When dawn finally came and it became clear that the Commonwealth that everybody knew would be no more, he realized many new opportunities awaited. He began quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good, and soon his family was as well off as he always said. He also kept in close touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together often, taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends, and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with the group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss for words sometimes. Barker Ashpaws never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling. So when the rites ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the dissidents, proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Jomura Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started to take an interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaws some healthy competition. His old feud with Rookie Greentail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amid his new pursuits. Excuse me. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaws, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exile of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him. Or more. Sorry, whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exile of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. There we go, that makes sense, and is clear. Bah. As soon as possible after Tamitha Thane earned back her liberty, she rejoined her sisters of the Highwing Remnants in the mountains north of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth believed that someone such as she could be rehabilitated through years spent in exile. Instead, her hatred for her ancient enemies only intensified. On the night of the scribe's return, the Highwing Remnants were poised to strike the Commonwealth in a decisive blow. They had received credible intelligence about the expected positions of the Commonwealth leadership, and of specific weakness in the blood border defenses anticipated that night. After a surgical procedure, Tamitha could fly again, almost as well as prior to her exile. She insisted on spearheading the attack with a squadron of the Harp's finest. They descended on their foes exactly as planned. The chaos that had arisen in the streets of the Commonwealth that night made for an optimal diversion. Nonetheless, the battle took its toll. Many of Tamitha's sisters fell. She herself sustained many grievous wounds, but ignored them all and fought with a terrible fury. By dawn, the leaders of the Commonwealth had been eliminated, and Tamitha was limping back toward the mountains. She would never fly again. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha attended a debriefing in which she learned her blood sister Pamitha was an accessory to the successful outcome. Tamitha was very skeptical of this, but so many of the Highwing Remnants honored Pamitha that Tamitha soon accepted the prevailing opinion, though grudgingly at first. A messenger imp later arrived, bearing some sort of message, seemingly from Pamitha. However, Tamitha turned it away. She forever resisted the impulse to forgive. After the rise of the Saurian Union, Tamitha Thane continued to serve as flight tactician, and remained respected and feared even among her kind. However, without a war to wage, she grew more distant even than usual. Those closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this, though, for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weakness. After her liberation, Jodariel soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Saurian Union. Her military prowess and experience led to key victories in clashes against Commonwealth loyalists. Each time, she was able to subdue the opposition, avoiding lethal force. In the uncertain times that followed, Jodariel's seasoned expertise often came into play both in matters of security and of state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close with Hedwyn all through this experience, and they supported each other through their struggles many, many times. She kept an eye on Lei, who nonetheless demonstrated a surprising knack to get by on her own, though Jodariel was always willing to provide assistance, just in case. She continued training on her own, a regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and she sometimes obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part. After the rites ended, Pamitha Thane parted ways with the other Nightwings, stated that she needed time alone. She reappeared sometime after the fall of the Commonwealth, although she expressed mild surprise at the news. She claimed to have no knowledge of what went on, including what role the Highwing Remnants had in the events that reshaped the world on the other side. For her part, Pamitha feigned little interest, making the point that they were stuck, and what happened elsewhere had little to do with them now. Someone with whom she kept in contact was the bog dweller called Big Bertrude. They would discuss all sorts of matters long into the night, and sometimes hunt together too. Pamitha never saw her blood sister again, though did hear of her. By some accounts, Tamitha played no small part in the historic last days of the Commonwealth. In turn, Tamitha must have heard something of her blood sister, however she never responded to Pamitha's attempts to contact her. Pamitha did not expect forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she kept on trying to reach out, she said, to ruffle up her feathers just a bit. Having long since felt as though she had no home to call her own, Pamitha continued traveling about the downside. As the tempests swept across the land, changing its features, she found in it a sublime beauty, and in the starless nights, she could still see just fine. Or she still could see just fine. She said such travels tended to remind her of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan with a capital P of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live within the dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps then even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she had admired now for decades. He had made clear that he could not He had made clear that he could not requite her feelings for him, but what could have been a hurtful dismissal led only to a deeper understanding between them. She maintained an unlikely kinship with the harp, Pamitha Thane, whom she had known during their time together on the Nightwings. Yo, welcome back, Comeback 323! Thanks for bringing the party. How is it going, my friend? They each had different strategies for dealing with life's day-to-day annoyances, a subject that they both found vital, if not fascinating, to no end. By and large, Bertrude kept focused on her work. Whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans, the work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. Currently in the middle of reading all the epilogue stuff to Pyre. For those that are joining us from some far-flung part of the internet, welcome to the Yizbrid Games stream. Yizbrid Games is a publishing company that publishes some pretty darn cool games, like VA11 Hall A, Cyberpunk Bartending Action, Nirvana with the same subtitle, which is wishlistable on Steam. Doop boop doop boop doop. Boop doop boop. Boop. Just posting some links in the chat to those that are joining us. Same links that I went over at the beginning of the stream for those that are watching on YouTube. But yeah, we're closing up Pyre and moving on over to Tunic after these stories are done. So if you feel like hanging out with us after that, then feel free. By and large, Bertrude kept focused on her work, whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans. The work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries, with the competing slug market, which the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Big Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more the living legend. When Monley Tinderstauff realized the rites had ended, and that he no longer could return to the Commonwealth through this ancient means, he was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of one of his high status and bearing. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via Messenger Imp, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. Forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about Yizbrid, go check out No Place for Bravery over on Steam as well. That is wishlistable there, too. World of Horror is also in early access if you want to check that out. Both of them are very cool games. Those are the ones that we are currently showing off, or showed off, rather, I should say, at PAX East. So go give those a play, or give them a wish list / play, because they're cool. It's nice being able to plug for games that I just actually enjoy playing and everything. Not that I've plugged for games I don't enjoy playing, but I just mean, as opposed to trying to sell you some doodad you don't want. You know what I mean. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with superior propulsion. He tried an imp raft, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tinderstauff bankrupt his family in these vain attempts. At last, such was his shame that he retreated to the teeming woods of Black Basin to Cinderroot. There he yet wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Tempers to call it quits. But first, he and the Tempers decided to celebrate, and that they did for many, many nights. The revelry did eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long and took on many lovers in his time. Excuse me. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curly Horns and what became of her. Though his glory days as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at that time. Here we go, the last 5. When the cycle of the rites ceased turning, Volfred Sandalwood turned toward the starless sky and closed his eyes and prayed. It was all that he could do at this stage of his plan with a capital P. He aspired to assemble with liberated exiles representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the rites ending sooner than expected, this ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit. Yet, the plan with capital P did have contingencies. Word reached him that, on the night of the scribe's return, several of his fellow liberated Nightwings stood together and their voices echoed through the streets. It was vital to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature, but this proved to be untenable, especially after the Highwing remnants appeared. There was speculation that their well-timed assault may not have happened by coincidence, though Sandalwood denied any involvement and regretted the bloodshed. Nevertheless, the main thrust of the plan with capital P had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that, as much as possible, providing counsel from afar to those who would be at the forefront of the birth of the Saurian Union. Of course, being stranded in the downside meant that there was only so much he could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of the downside. They might never return to that new nation, but at least they could experience its triumphs and its struggles in some vicarious way. So he took to his old work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread again throughout the Saurian Union, so too did exiles of the downside take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped to teach as many as he could. More than that, he provided the material to read, a semi-annual report about the latest events both in the Saurian Union and the downside. This periodical gave many exiles something to look forward to. One of his allies in all of this was the imp Tizo, with whom he traveled all across the downside. Sandalwood often cited Tizo as the wellspring of his own enthusiasm for a brighter future, such was the creature's spirit. He enjoyed exchanging letters with the reader of the Nightwings, who kept him well abreast of how their other comrades and the fledgling nation fared. As Volfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout this land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about 2 things. The first was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exiles of the Nightwings who had stood with him, each in turn, by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, the people of the Saurian Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn of it until much later, it is said that he was moved to tears, then, by the gesture. It has since ensured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and our cause. With the rites drawn to a close, the slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave to it one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger imp returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth in newly minted coinage from the Saurian Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Saurian Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrude's and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Greentail, whose own business had expanded. Especially in the Saurian Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. After the Shimmer Pool closed for what would be the last time, Oralek looked around him in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still-burning pyre. He then turned to the Fall of Solium and looked up toward the black, starless sky. He cursed the 8 scribes then, one after the other. After that, he strode forward toward the waters coursing from the side of Mount Elodiel, and without hesitating, he cast himself down. Oralek's body was never recovered. The drop from Mount Elodiel does not appear survivable, though Oralek did survive it once. That time, however, he was filled with fury. Such was the betrayal he had suffered when his fellow exile claimed his rightful freedom. This time, Oralek was filled with nothingness, and chose to leave the downside in the one way he still knew he could. The other Nightwings who were witness to this never forgot what they saw. I see. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Elodiel with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tariq nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Saurian Union and merely were imbued with the weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims at having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests these minstrels were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome, that the two gave up their duties to the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. There is one more account which warrants mention. The Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of him. However, some accounts of him begin to paint a picture. We know he was of common birth, always directionless and prone to misremembering at times. Way to call me out. The journey to the downside left him close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found him. They brought him from the brink. He showed them the path. He pressed onward with the others. He did not know how far their path would lead. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. That freedom he indeed achieved ere the morning's light. From that point on, accounts of him diverge. It is said the voice which troubled him he never heard again. Some say he sailed the seas far west of here. Though whether that is true, only he knows. Interesting. I like that I'm assuming this changes depending on what you claim you want to do when you get out of here. Or if you're able to, head back. Someday, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Until such time, and ever after, all of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone. When he arrived, the book of rights awakened the Nightwings, and
I love this artwork so much.
He has found his way home. Captain Joe Dariel, mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home. Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the scribes. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. The moon-touched girl hears the scribes in the world all around her. They have guided her home.
Tears all the wise, ever faithful to the cause of the Night Wings. He remained to the end.
Sir Gilman the Bold, ever in his quest, finding honor and glory, he has found his way home. Mammoth the Thane, born on guilty wings, ever seeking forgiveness, she remained till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Bound together.
Ooh.
The great mastermind, Wolfred Sandalwood, saw his plans turn to action. He remained till the end. The bog dweller Gertrude kept their foes at bay with her finest enchantments. She remained till the end.
The reader at last made the night wings whole and ascended to freedom. He has found his way home. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Now at the end, as we bid farewell and return to the stars, we shall find our way home. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way
I'm not misty-eyed, you are. This game is like... Ooh, true Nightwing campaign mode unlocked? What? I mean, we're not playing this one on stream, but does that mean I can play as the true Nightwings instead of... I just want to see what this gets me. What is... Oh, it's a difficulty. Base difficulty same as heightened. All Titan stars unlocked and some must be used. Enlightenment required to rank up rescaled. Cannot load checkpoints or restart rights. Book of Rights and White Loot fully unlocked. Slug Market inventory fully unlocked. Feats of Glory introduced much sooner. Gotcha. Okay. I thought it was saying that you could play as the true Nightwings there. Still. Excuse me. So, that was Pyre. I have a lot to say about it. I find it very interesting that it was like half sports game, half visual novel. And I say that not as a, or like sports management game. I say that not as like half visual novel as if, like one could argue that it's just a sports management game that has a lot of dialogue in it, but a lot of the like gameplay mechanics were based around that dialogue, and the way that those interactions were handled, such as what you said and who remembered it, and like what choices you made for your character, and especially that like rousing speech moment. Had I known it was going to work like that, I would have like screen capped them all and then given the speech that was generated at the end. Like, so many cool ways of doing this, and like the ending credits, like the way that they were able to make that song modular, so that like no matter who ascended or didn't, their part would be sung a different way with the different lyric ending. They found their way home, or they remained to the end, and yet like just due to the audio engineering, it sounded seamless. That's a song generated from your choices throughout the game, and yet it sounds like it always should have been that song. Hello, Professor Dunn. Just, I mean, I guess I can attribute that to just Supergiant's polish on everything and their like artistic choices, but like it's just impressive. Like I see why folks say that like perhaps Pyre is the weakest out of the 4 Supergiant games, but like I would say that has to be from a gameplay choice perspective, and not from how much love and care went into this game. I mean, I don't think anybody could argue that a lot of love and care didn't go into this game. It's just phenomenal, all of the little details, and Supergiant just always puts in all the little details. It's amazing. Yeah, Supergiant's like Beetlejuice. Yes, yeah. Supergiant, the game dev company. But you would have enjoyed, there were a lot of nods to the nods to Stars in the Sky, and the Zodiac constellations all had equivalents in this, in Pyre. It was pretty cool. You got here just in time for the game switch. I'm gonna take a quick break, about 10 minutes or so, and then we're going to hop back in with Tunic, which should be a blast, because while I very much enjoyed Pyre, yeah, very, very, very much enjoyed Pyre. I'm gonna have to jump back into Pyre off stream and start like like, I don't know, maybe do another campaign and just try, or at least do a deep dive into the wiki. I need to know all of the different variant ending stuff. Yes, the game Tunic. But that said, yes, I will be back shortly, and then we'll get going with our little fox friend. So pardon me while I switch some things up. Remember to use this time to stretch, get some water, get hydrated, take some meds if you have to, whatever's on your normal routine. Grab a snack, etc. And we'll be back in about 10. Ta-ta for now. I shall return. And actually, I'm going to switch it over to Tunic so that we have that music going during break. Let's see. Where did that go? There we are. Yes. Alrighty. Bye for now. I shall return. I am back, though it would definitely help if I, can I can't edit that while I'm not on it. I forgot to change which game this is looking at. Hey. Properties. You. Yeah? Yeah! Alright, there we go. Tunic music, Tunic music, Tunic music. Oh yeah. We in this. Thanks for your patience. We are now switching gears. Time to play a game with Moonlight Greatsword on cover. It has been a minute since I have played Tunic. Don't quite remember exactly what we were doing last time, but I believe we unlocked 2 new areas. One was like a desert, and one was... Is that where I am? It's gonna take me a moment to get used to all the controls. Hello, low health. Let's heal that back up. What have I got? That's my shield. There's my lock on. That's gonna be for menu. That's for drinking a potion, which even better that we just did that. And X for dodging, and whatever buttons I have assigned, I believe, for things, but it looks like I need a sword equipped. What happened last time? How did this happen? What button do I want for sword? Do I want that like this? Maybe? What color is that, blue? No, it's pink. Okay, well, still. We'll go sword there. Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll try it like that. Been a minute. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm in a new area or if I'm in an old one. I would like to kind of get a better grasp of where I am and what I'm doing. Yeah, let's look at the map. Try to remember what our next objective was. Yes, that's right. We have a teleport network, and we unlocked 2 new areas. I remember that. So there's this one, the west. No, we did the West Garden. That's what we completed. Champignon. And then we got. So that teleport network is what we now have. That lets us get to the new places, such as this. Is this the new? Was this a new place? There's this place we'd been to before. I feel like we did this area too. So I know we want to go to, there was either like beachside desert kind of a thing, or like to the garden even further to the west. If I look at my items, you can discern if I did the thing. What have I done? I appreciate you helping me catch up here, Medabi. I can like hold this, right? Or I can dodge roll into an attack. That was it. I've not gone to the beach yet, or those 2 pages I was going between. Right next to the character customizer room. I won't ban you for that. This is a first time playthrough, but so I will say, you know, no spoilers as far as like story stuff goes. If there's like a mechanic that I'm missing, that's like a basic mechanic, feel free to tell me about it. If it's like something that the player wouldn't. Oh, that group of trees next to the square fountain hides the door. Here? So, like, in this case, group of trees hides the door. Here? Down there? Oh, here. So, I'm happy that you told me about this. Character customizer. Like, wait, like, I get to customize our boy? Like, how so? Oh! Yo! Oh, I ring it and then go through it? Or do not all of them work? This is so cool! I'm very glad you showed me about this. What is changing? Is that the... Okay, so that's the scarf. I see. Sure does. So is this something that, you have, like, instructions to find or something? Is it, like, how does one find this ordinarily? Just discovery. Okay. Oh, I see. Hitting the bell resets everything. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna say that this gets a huge pass and a thumbs up from me in that if I can customize my character and it's not like, even if this was something to discover on my own later on, this is a really cool thing to know. I will say I will appreciate it if you just ask next time, like, hey, there's a cool thing in this area that, like, just give it a little bit of, just like, hey, there's a really cool thing in this area that the game doesn't expect you to find. Would you like to know about it, kind of a thing. But we're yeah, but in this case, that's totally fine, because this is awesome and I appreciate it. So thank you so very much for telling me about this. We're now going to spend the next hour of the stream changing clothing color. What is changing here? Is the boots? Okay, hang on. We need to start with the basic fox color. Okay, so green fox, gold fox, blue fox. I think I'm going with that blue. Just want to see what options are here. So yeah, no harm, no foul. I am quite happy with what you've shown me. So did I go backwards? No, I didn't. Yeah, it's got to be this one. Did we just restart? No. I just want to see what else is here. Yes, that is fair. That is fair. How many colors are here? Are we back at the beginning? We sure are. Okay. No, I want that sky blue one. It's true. I have a chat open next to me. Yeah, I'm totally fine to just say thanks so much for telling me about this, especially if it's something that's like, this is so very like innocuous as far as like, this is not going to impact gameplay, this is not spoiling a boss for me, there's no like grand reveal that like, oh, now the game is spoiled. No, it's like, I get to just look rad as hell while I play. Yeah, that's cool. Tell me about an aesthetic thing like that. Happy to hear it. All right, what are we doing clothes-wise? What color is this? White? Brighter white? Oh, that was gray. I could just go oops all blue. Yeah. Purely cosmetic thing, feel free to tell me about it. I'm happy. Do we have a dark green? I think we have a dark green. That's pretty, that's kind of a brownish color. Can't tell. I think we're back at the beginning, yeah. What color do we want to go with this? Let's do... I kind of liked either matching the blue or going gray. Gray's not too bad. Let's go monochrome blue fox. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. What do you want to do for boots? Little white boots? Little black boots. What are we thinking? Or brown? Are these black? Oh, it's changing. Oh, they're not boots. They're just the accent colors because it's changing his nose too. Oh, adorbs. Is it the same color blue as everything else? Is it darker? A little bit, not by much. White is cute, does match everything else. Can I go like back through if I... Though I kind of like the gray matching everything else too. Lowest note brown nose was pretty good. Let's see. Well, now you're just brown nosing me. This one. Kind of like going with the gray and just matching the gray of the scarf. Though that gives a little extra splash of color, but I almost wish it was like matching something. It's pretty good though. I like that. Oh, hang on. The white's too bright. This is the one I'm thinking, is we just match it. The gray. Unless we should have a a different colored scarf to... You like this one? I kind of like this look. I could sit here for like 9 years. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna roll with this. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, thank you, Bold Big Flank. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, we're in business now. Heck yeah. Can I kill it fast enough? And then out of the way. It's coming back to me. Alrighty, we need to go to the teleport room, which was... Oh, there's some stuff to get to, like that. There's gotta be a way to, like, hook shot to those things or something. Right, so the teleporter spots are the gold bits, right? It was like a yellow panel that I use, if I'm not mistaken. Is that up here? Oh. Pushing his body. Oh, I can put in another coin. Toss that in there. Can I? How do I think I go to my... Put this on a thing? Yes. There we are. Hey! That did something. I got a thing. I have not played The Witness, though I was thinking of playing The Witness after this, but... Oh, it lets me equip another one of these. Ooh, cool. Okay. Yes, that is a wishing well. Yeah, extra slot. Rad. Small thing. It's bugging me just a little bit. I want to go back and switch the nose to that brown color. Where was that? That was over on the other side, I see. I agree that it looked really nice. Something about the gray is just not looking quite right. Oof. There we go. That was the one, yeah? Kind of burgundy. Yeah, I like. This song reminds me of the... From Link's Awakening. Okay, I need to check my map. I'm lost. We need... Oh, I see the little scribble, though, of the arrow going down there on this map. That's so cool. Can I zoom in? I thought I could zoom in. Yeah, there we go. So, like, there's an arrow printed on that where that was. So really, I should just fault myself for not paying attention to this map as well. There are a couple doors there. I don't know if we know about that. That's drawn on in pen. Is that a place we've been already? I want to work my way over there, and then we'll find a one of the thingies, teleporty thingies. Oh shoot, I didn't want to do that. That's fine. Then down here. Are doors here? Or is that just pointing into the... What are those squares? That's what I want to know. Secret, secret. There is a secret? Maybe. Or is that just this? So this is like early game stuff, right? This is like beginning of the game stuff here. If I remember correctly. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was great to see you as well, Professor. Thanks for popping in. Alrighty. Where is nearest... teleportery guy? Yeah. Mainly just talking to myself. Right now I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to remember where I was going, so I don't mind a little bit of assistance with that. This was... what did we call it? The Hex Force? South. South is where I'm going then. Okay. South and beaches. Why am I not seeing the squares on the map? Because that was what I remembered there being. We'll go south and do that one, I think. I just don't remember where the nearest teleport location is. Down. So not this way. Okay, well, I was already over here, clearly. Because we have some open chests. Was this to get... Right. Okay. This was where I got the magic rod up there. And that was like post-fight, I think. Yeah. It's just the only problem is it's been like a few weeks, so that's why I'm having trouble remembering exactly what I was doing and why. What is this? Because I can do a thing, can't I? Where I like, yeah, that was it. I can like pray or sing. Huh. Okay. Can I bomb this? I forget how bombs work. Okay. Is this into a dungeon? Oh, this was the really pretty room. With the really pretty music. Right. There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted. All right. It's just for me like it's like showing up in a like you've been to this place, but it's been so long since you've been here that like you just do not remember any of it, and everything is distracting me because I don't know what's new and what's not. Okay, so here I can only use the activated ones. Is this the one that takes me to the desert? I will trust you on this one. I guess I can just go there and find out, but yeah, that works. Okay. Sure. I don't even know what time it is. 7:14. Okay. Yeah, we're making good time. Probably not gonna take a break. I think I'm just gonna go until like 8:30 or so, and then we'll just have the one break. Cause I've missed playing this game. And I'm feeling good. So this is all new area. So I don't even have to worry. Don't trust you, crabs. Aw. Do you like run to mama or something and get more guys? I feel bad about this. Oh, but it was very important. Did that give me back mana? Is that what they do? They're like... I like this area a lot. A pinch. Oh, hello. Oh god. I lucked out there. What does this song remind me of? Give me the key. Okay. Took a shot. Paid off. Open this back up. Oh, I have to just interact with it. Yet I can't walk this path. So what is here for me? Unless this was not back to the middle. No, it is. Oh, hello. Tried to... Thought I could parry that. Could not. Can I magic you? Nope. Oh, jeez. Heal, please. Out of here. Okay. Is this crab invincible? I need to hit it in its weak point for massive damage. Oh, I see. No? Okay. There it is. I understand. I get it now. I just had to attack its weak point for massive damage. His soft underbelly. Come on. Nope. Missed that. Hoo-hoo. Can I get us some health, please? At least not another giant crab right now. I need... You know what? I'm gonna run back to... safety, maybe? Okay. I don't trust this and I'm gonna die. Away with you, please. Die. 2, 1. There it is. Heart? No. Take the mana. I don't trust that. Unless I just killed it. Can I, No, no, no. There's a fish. There are a few fish. Hello, fish. Don't be piranhas. Can I get fish? Health? What are you? Run, run. No, no, I didn't want to dodge forward. I wanted to dodge back. I am sad and upset. Alas. Okay. Let's do this. Oh, of course. And those just give me health immediately after I don't need it. Okay. I am better prepared this time. What does killing these do? Can I just shoot that from here? Oh, it's a bird. I see. I thought it was a laser guy. Okay. Come at me. Come at me, bro. Yeah? Uh-huh. One more time. Or, we'll just do that. It's mushrooms. Where did those go? Oh. A new secret thing I can turn in. But it's for mana, I believe? Yeah, that's gonna be mana. Okay. So this can take me back up here. Oh. Okay. Is this gonna be another store? Yeah. Which I just lost all of my runes, are they? I'd like to purchase this. Oh, but I almost have enough. Is this another potion? Would I then have 4? Don't have enough. I'm gonna go kill a couple more things and come back. Bye, buddy. Hello, skeleton, my old friend. I've come to shop with you again. This is where I went last time. I don't think I went up here. Oh, hello. Okay. I didn't know the game would change perspective like that. That's really neat. Does it, like, it doesn't stay like that. Okay. It just lets me curve around for a minute. Cool. Can I pray here? Right? Yeah, okay. Turns into a... But I guess I need to activate this? Is that the thing? Right, the energy lines stuff. Have to provide, like, dark power to it or something. Alrighty, let's go this way this time. Grab those. Ooh, hello. I love the patterns on the, or like the textures on the ground. Please stop. My health. Okay. What's this do again? Bye. Right. It helps me kill. That's what it does. Yes! Kill! Okay. So I almost have the ability to jump between these hooks. Maybe I'll get it from this island since there are so many here. Oh, hello. This looks like a place that would let me zip around. Are these frogs? Or are they like... They almost look like tonberries. Oh, they're frogs. I see now. Ooh. Okay. Don't really have anything I can do here. Or can I fall here? No. Okay. Later then. Later then I can come back here. 'Cause even if I kill that, I have no real way of hookshotting to it yet. Oh, can I parry those back? Either way. I'm assuming that, like, from this dungeon, I'll have the ability to get over there afterwards. I'll rest here. Let's do that a little bit easier, or a little bit better this time around. Although, hang on, there was more. Let's offer these lads. Yes. Get some boosts. Love the sound effects in this game. Yeah, they may look like tonberries, but they are not quite tonberries. Oomp, oomp, oomp. I'll take that. Use the boost to get through! You're just like your father, Fox. Do a barrel roll. Get this bogey off my tail. Oh, jeez, he can pull me to him. Okay. Are you a monster? No. Whew. You gotta be quicker than that. Dead. You fucking dead, kid. Let's go this way first. Ooh, I like that chest, though. It's over there. Oh, that just puts me back on the... Is that what this is? Yeah, like this. How do I forget how to parry effectively? So we'll just do that. Can I get this sword? I want this. I want it. Gimme. I could move it. You tease. There's more. Oh, jeez. My health. No. Ooh. Oh, and he knocked me into the water. What a way to go. Please let me attack. Try to dodge that, jerk. There we go. Is this... Okay, yeah, this is the way to go. I need to, like, start my combo closer. I didn't go this way this time, or last time. I guess that's just to see what's going on here. Technically, I take these lads out from here. Chug that. Some seams down there. Interdasting. Love this dungeon music. I don't take that risk. Not anymore. Oh, that's what this was. I only really have 20 that I lost. Is it just not that bad? Oh god. I didn't want to roll into them. I wanted to roll away. Why? They are cute. That's why. I've been bamboozled. Hoodwinked. I'm a fool. Oh. Bombs. Lamp oil, rope. They remind me of in Zelda Link Between Worlds, the Mai. Okay, that's right. I could go down this way and sneak. My little foxtail is dummy thick and I keep alerting the guards. Please move out of the way. Thank you. Bum 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 bottom. What a little death animations. That almost killed me, just from picking up my health. Or my coinage. We'll just unlock that door. We'll just unlock that door. Okay, let's get them both, and... Oh, okay. That's not how that was supposed to go. Okay. There we go. I have one left. There we go. Oh, I did it. A heart, please. Please. No boss? Something I'm supposed to do here? Is that not stairs? It's not. Oh, yeah, I can do something here. Oh, it's a switch. Oh, cool. Where does this take me? Gotcha, back up to the tippy top. I can go out that way, but I want to see... Yeah. What's in here first? Oh, the first room. Secret door. Got it. I like how they do the secrets that connect the world as... not as things that you necessarily unlock, but as things you just don't see. I mean, in that case, you unlock it, but still. Like, they play around with perspective so much. Okay. The Southern Vault. Already stolen. Well, what if I, like, sing about it? Well, let's go back up and regroup, at least. So I feel like this is gonna be very, like, now that I've found out that it's stolen, I go back to the main room and the boss is there or something. Or I have to chase the boss around. Okay. I didn't want to almost die just right here. We're gonna redo that. Coming to me on... No, you know what? No, this is what we're doing. Oh, fizzles out. I don't think I knew I could go that way. Okay, I'll call it there. Ooh. Can I lock onto them? I was hoping I could. Can I throw these down there? Sure can. This is how you do it. Although I can't do anything with that for now. How far away can he cast it at me? Oh god, that's just a thing that happens now. Wait, what am I doing? I don't have to go this way. I can go that way. So, I mean, is there like a way I can go here? It's very rude. We'll try this way. Oh god. How? It's insane. Oh, come on. Okay. Back a little bit of health. There's gotta be something going on around here that I can get down and around to it. Is there a way to be on the bottom floor of this? Oh, yes, I see it. It's this. Although I'm about to die. But it was all in service of this. Wait, no. I've been here before. Maybe? Yes. That just gets me behind there. Darn it. I appreciate the offer for a hint. I think I'm okay on this one. Just trying to figure out where there's a ladder or something. So I have a feeling that there's a way to be on the floor there. It's not there. So this is the way I got down here. Please let me back up. Come on. There we go. So is there another spot where there's a ladder? Oh, there's a dude here. They're probably gonna die too real fast. So let's make that happen. Oh, nope. Guess I'm just cool. And almost dead, but cool nonetheless. We have a map for this, actually, don't we? Yeah, where is... To the right of that room, I see it. Okay. Yeah. So in fact, we can just go up to the front again. Heal. Oh god. Did we go this way? That's how we got in here, huh? No. Oh god. Want this chest? Oh, come on. Got me in the corner. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my religion. Okay. These bombs, I forget. Or are just these bombs? This is a fruit. What are you doing there, Tunic-y friend? Okay, well, since I don't have bombs, I'm gonna have to just fight through all of those by going this way. What the hell? How'd you get up here? Where did you come from? That was weird. I've never seen a big guy there. Okay, but here, we should be able to go this way. Yeah. And down and around. Oh, geez. Have fun. Later, buddy. That was almost, game freezing. Okay, more bombs. That. Fight these cultists. Let me roll. Please let me roll, please. Okay, and Baba Booey. Oh jeez. Nope. Yeah, he saved me. More health. please. That was your downfall. Health, please. Thank goodness. Whew. Now I'll take this. Orb. Okay. Is that on all the time? Do I have to equip it? I think I have to equip it. What happens if I don't target that? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Cool. Finally, I have a thing to use. Okay, so this is just to teach me how to use it, to get around. But I don't want to leave just yet, because there's this. Shit. Yeah. Cool. So, can I use... I forget what these tuning forks are. Maybe I don't get to know yet. Gotcha, gotcha. If I had this, you would have known I made it through this whole area. Cool. That makes sense. So what does that let me do? There we go. Okay, so I can go through stuff even. That just lets me exit this place real quick. Rad. Okay. I like that. I like how they plan for you to do that. That's cool. What time is it? 7:54. I think I would like to go... I need to finish this up. What's this? There was something down here, I think, right? That I couldn't do before, but I can now. Yeah, I can now use this. Sweet. So this opens up a lot of the game. I wanted to power up this lad before I quit for the evening. However it is that I'm supposed to do that. Can I bring these guys up here? I sure can. Cool. Now I'll take you. Come here, you. Oh no? Okay. Here I need to go up and around this way. Cool. Okay, I see. Because I'd like to not forget what my objective is here the next time I start playing this next week. Oh, I can just be on this. Did I know that? Did I know I could do that? I must have. Maybe not. Oh well. How do I get to that? How do I get to you? Treasure chest. To go all the way around, maybe? And agreed. This game is phenomenal phenomenal visual masterpiece. The Blitch Witch, did you see the booklet that you get in the game? Not to mention the ballpoint pen marks and the CMYK print dots in the way that this is printed. From what I heard, this game was made. So yeah, so all of these pages are not necessarily in order. I mean, they're in order, but I don't necessarily have all of them. You collect pages, like here. It goes from 3 to 10. I can collect pages, and as I collect them, it gives me more information about the game. But most of it's in a language you can't read, and that's what this game is supposed to invoke the feeling of buying a weird, like, Japanese action RPG, and you're just like, or like finding one at like a flea market or like that a relative had, and like knowing nothing about it and playing it without really being able to understand everything, but figuring it out yourself just through trial and error. And it's phenomenal. It's so cool. How do I get up there? How do I get over there? Because I can't. Oh. I'm just blind. There's merch. I didn't know there was merch. I saw the Finji, excuse me. Finji. I did not mean to butcher that. I saw the Finji booth at PAX East. Alas, I did not have time to go and check it out. I was busy with Ysbrid stuff, but thank you for linking that. I will be looking at it shortly. Let's see. Let's go up here. Can I go across this? Is there something to attach to? No, not this time. We made that one up. Head back here. No. I see. That's where you go to get the... Aha, so this energy line here is what's busted. Not all the energy is running to it. Now I can do this. 'Cause I'm cool. This unlocks so many things. Come in. I can do that now. I see. This just trivializes all of these enemies. I love it. I'm sure that that's going to get harder and harder depending on what I'm fighting. Can I, like, fish with this? There was a ladder inside the room I unlocked. I will go back for it. Back for it later. Whoa, what the fuck was that? Also my health. Please. On guard. Yes. Ooh. Drinku? What's that? What is this? Oh, enjoy your existence in the sub-ocean. Foolish mortal. Okay, we got some, bit more, energy flowing now. Oh. Don't like that. The sound effect, though. That's so cool. The, like, 8-bit bass notes. Hang on. Oh, it lowers my actual overall health bar. Yo. That's wild. Until I heal, I hope. Okay, so... Oh, this is just rope. Cool. So now I can go back here. Heal. Yes, please. I think that brought my health back to where it needed to be. Yes. Cool. And then can I toss more of these lads in there? Yeah. Please give me more HP. Give me all the stats. You know me well, Madabi. You know me well. What time is it? 8:05. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go till 8:30. I'm glad. We are of one mind then. Okay, I want to get back up here though, even if that's supposed to lead me back. Take that. I love that they have hooks on their tongues. That's rad. Okay, so around that way. Can I just not get down from here? Is that my punishment? For being up here? It's a one-way. No, because I can go... Can I not hit that one down there? Guess it's at a weird angle. Can I get there from here? Yeah, there we go. Having fun in the The outer... Wait, can you... He can't hook me in there, can he? I want to see, like, speedrunning strats for this. Oh, hello. Okay. Huh. Is there a follow-up attack I can make with that? Is that what that's doing? I forgot. Keep forgetting that they explode. Those just rocketed off into the great ocean beyond. I'll take those, thank you. So we have a map of this place. So does it account for the grossness? I guess it doesn't. Okay, but we need to get to 3 and 4. So 3 is up top here. Do that. Do a little singing. A little praying. What else do we need to do? Just that far right one, yeah? Oh, this is leaking even more, though, over here. It's having a bad day. We're polluting the waters. Captain Planet would be ashamed of us. Don't tell him. Please. Please don't tell him. Don't tell Captain Planet. Okay, the last time we were over on this side, though, we didn't have the hook that we now have, so might be able to get to some other areas over on this side of the place. Oh, that exploded. I didn't remember that it exploded. Oh, cool. I can just use that on those. I'm so happy. Best item, clearly. Okay, so up there is our new destination. Okay. Was what a shortcut door? Oh, that's the... I knew there was going to be a catch. I knew someday there would be something that I wasn't supposed to pull towards me. There was that. Run back up here for a second. Oh, I can climb up here. I don't know why I didn't think I could. Before we do that, I feel like things are gonna go nuts. No, stop. Go down. Look at this. Thank you. I would also like to see what's over. Okay. Can I? Okay, so that's just open there, but I want to go up here. We'll sing a fourth one in place. Which now should be all 4. Neato. Guess now we can go back to the middle. Don't like that that's leaking. Can I run across it? I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to be able to get over there. But how? Oh. Easily, it seems. Unless it's broken. Looks like I can just go over here. Maybe not? Oh, up here. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Oh, except I hate that. Worth it for this. Actually, it's not, but whatever. It's fine. And then I need to be down there to get to the chest, maybe? Yes, because I need to run past. Can I open this? Could I have always opened this? Neat. Yeah, because then I can go here. Cool. Oh, I don't know what that does. Is this? Oops, I want that still on. Orb. Where's my booklet? Does it say what those are? Coins on page 20. Echo of self. So that's what that is. But I wonder if it's like, does it like let me... I don't know what it would do for the echo of self. I would like to see the... I guess I don't have a list of talismans yet, or whatever you want to call those. Stickers. Oh well. I'm gonna leave it on the mixing drinks and changing lives one for a bit. How did I miss that one? I want that chest. Unless it's tough to get to from here, in which case I don't want that chest. It's probably just more coins. Yeah, we'll leave it. It'll be okay. I'm not a completionist. thought there were 3. Oh well. You get over here. So now, can I sing here? Yes. Cool. Oh, it didn't like that. Okay, can I sing? Ah. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, it's music. Oh, hang on. I want to go this way first. Okay. Now we go this way. She asked for help on that. I was laughing too hard at her attempting to coerce all the burbs into the area because she was convinced that had something to do with it. That sounds like something I would do, but oh, you know, sometimes things just don't click immediately. Hello. The Great Library. Oh, sup. Are you not bad? You are not bad. You're just cute. Oh, he's trying to follow me around with tea. Can I... What if I hit you? I'm so sorry. Okay. I thought maybe it would cause Table Friend to, like, drop down and I have to, like, have him follow me and, like, become a bridge. Is anybody in this chair? No. I love how oversaturated all the colors are. Are you an enemy? Are you friend? I love the sun coming in through the windows. Am I supposed to be able to... I know I can climb up that wall, but can I... Here lies the hero. Huh. Is this like... These are all the, like, aspects of what I have. Is this, like... In this realm, this is, like, what makes up me? Can I interact with this in some way? Like... Like, what if I... It was like, kill my ability to do magic? Huh. I can't use that right now, right? I need magic for it. Can I pray here? Doesn't do anything. Interesting. Well. Some other time, I guess. Well. We go up. Oh, this is so beautiful. Okay. Looks like they're designing the technology that's being used out there. Can I have this? Sure can. The cathedral. Legend says wearing this allows you to do something extraordinary. One, two, three, four, 4A, 4B. Ooh. Is this a code to crack? Do you need some, like, really wild things? Huh. Oh. But wait, there's more. The door in the mountains. Oh, but it got us this. Quarry, West Garden, Ruined Atoll. The sword. Eastern Vault, Town Ruins. Quarry. Cool. So cool. Oh, orange peril ring, cyan peril ring, inverted ash anklet perfume. I was asking about this. Tincture is attack up, defense down. Bracer is shield. And was that stamina down, but shield up or something? Lucky cup, muffling bell. Louder echo gives you ×4 damage for that, I suppose, when it explodes. Scavenger's Mask has a bunch of underlines. Dagger strap, magic echo. Oh no, magic echo is the one that I got. And then a crazy fire, no hearts. Aura's gem. Something 60 seconds when you're underwater. Saying to be quiet. Oh, this is wild. Is that like when you're low health you get an attack boost, and low health you get a defense boost, depending on those? Is that kind of how those work? So I thought they just gave me a boost, but it's when you're at low health. Okay. Another one here. For you. The quarry, monastery, cavity, rooted ziggurat, gun. Lower miasma. Interesting. Frog's domain. So do you get in there from here? Fleemers. Friend. Lost echo, echo of self, the swamp, old burying ground. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. The zone is extremely dangerous and is best left alone. Even if you're feeling brave, only ghosts are permitted to enter the inner grounds. Oh. Maybe I am ghost. Cathedral. Cool. This is so cool. Okay, so I can climb up there and power these, I'm thinking. Dead. Oh. I see. It's just dead. Can I go out this window? No. Alright, so before we teleport on this, which might not even work. Well, this, I can usually teleport back and forth on these things, yeah? Oh, but that's what it's saying. It doesn't have the power to do it, so that's why I gotta go over here. Turn it on. Oh, this probably just pulled a Wind Waker temple, or what is it, a Temple of Time, where now all the stuff that was down there woke up. Hyrule Castle, that's what it was. Still. Where does this take me now? Oh, okay. Cool. Alright, well, I think this is a good time to stop it, as a matter of fact. Because we have a whole place to explore around here. And see what's up as we climb higher. So, thanks once again for coming and hanging out, especially those who decided to have me do a little just background noise there while we played the rest of Pyre. And for hanging out while we played some Tunic. Next week is going to be more Tunic. We'll be playing that every Monday until we get that done, and we'll see what's coming out after that. I don't know. Don't know what we're going to play yet, but we'll see. I know we've got, I believe, Jacob and Meredith. Or no, excuse me. I think it's Jacob tomorrow playing Warhammer still. And then Jacob and Meredith on Thursday playing Strangers in Paradise Final Fantasy. So that'll be the rest of the week. I will be back on Monday. Once again, this has been the Yizbrid Games stream, where you can, and I apologize that the music has to stop there, but you can go find us at yizbrid.net. You can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, both Yizbrid Games respectively. This is going to be posted to YouTube, where you can watch this and older VODs. Any merch that you want to purchase for Yizbrid properties, you can go right there to that button, or to that link. I'm trying to think of what else I throw on here. Wish list all the cool stuff on Steam. Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about was the Discord. We have a Discord. Oh, does it need to catch up? There it goes. Yeah, discord.gg/YizbridGames. If you want to chat with myself, the rest of the streamers, all the rest of the community over on our lovely Yizbrid Games Discord server. Lots of really, really cool people. I like to hang out in the Final Fantasy chat because I'm a big nerd. So, of course. once again, I am Fizz the Human. Voice actor, jazz singer, celestial appreciator, pun connoisseur, etc. You can find me floating around Twitter mostly, twitter.com/FizzTheHuman. But my website, findfizz.biz. That's where you can locate all my cool stuff, like my demo reels and all that cool stuff for my voiceover things. So, yeah, with that, have a lovely evening. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and always remember to keep your spirits up, and we'll see you at the next one. So thanks so much for joining us. Fare thee well.